Good evening and welcome to yet another episode of the Health and Wellness Show. My name is Chebet Birir, and as usual, this is where we inform you, we empower you, and we inspire you to take full control of your health and live your best life. Now, today we are talking about diabetes and tech. I'm sure you know someone, whether it's your family, your friend, or just someone, an acquaintance, who is living with diabetes. Over time, of course, diabetes is a challenge to, to manage on a daily basis. But thanks to technology, we have advancements which can help people living with diabetes to better manage their conditions. We'll talk about all that, of course, in our second bit. But first, we just want to understand what is diabetes. We have diabetes type 1, we have diabetes type 2. And we will also talk to a patient, or I'd like to say an expert with lived experience, who will explain to us what it means and what it feels like to live with diabetes. We also have someone who will talk to us about technology and the technological advancements that have helped people living with diabetes enjoy life and live a full life. So on set with me, I have Dr. Davis Ombui, who is an endocrinologist. An endocrinologist, utatuelezea what you do. Najua endocrinology is a new term to many people. Karibu sana to the show, Daktari.
Thank you. Thank you.
That means you deal mostly with diabetic patients.
Basically, any disorder that comes with disorders to do with hormones.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You'll tell us about that as we continue. We also have Yvonne Carrier, who is the co-founder of the organization that deals with diabetes, tech and orthopedics. You'll tell us about that. And then we have Linda Kavulani, who is a patient, but I'd say expert with lived experience with diabetes. She's been living with diabetes for two years now.
Yeah.
Yes, karibuni sana to the show. And I want us to start with you, Linda.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed 2 years ago.
Yes.
How was it before that, and how did your life change after you were diagnosed?
I'd say life was normal. I was living my best life, doing the best at work. Everything was going well. And I didn't see this coming. So one day I just started getting blurry vision around February 2023. So I remember because it was during Lent period and I couldn't see the screen in church. So I started getting blurry vision and then it just went away. I thought, it's finished like that. But then later in June, the symptoms became worse. So I decided to just go for a checkup. I remember I was even carrying my laptop knowing this is just going to be a short checkup. After that, I continue with work. But yeah, what happened turned out to be a life-changing experience. Of course, I had Googled, and according to Google, I was dying. So
never Google your symptoms, they say.
So when I went to hospital, when the doctor said, we suspect it could be diabetes, let's have your blood sugar levels checked. The first instinct that came to mind was, oh, it's a relief. I sighed because I was like, thank you, I'm not dying. So I'm one of those people who have delayed processing. I think I later realized now what diabetes means almost 3 months later.
Okay.
That's when it hit me, oh my God, I'll be on insulin for life.
For life.
Yeah, so that's how it all happened. And since then, yeah, I've been managing. It's hard, it's ups and downs, but yeah.
And we'll talk about all that. But first, let's have Daktari explain to us what is diabetes. Type 1 and type 2. But first, diabetes. Before we go to type 1 and type 2, please tell us.
Well, it's a complex condition. I think I should start by saying that. It's a complex
condition. Absolutely, because I've been reading about it, but still I have not fully understood it.
Yeah, so we are going to just simplify it today. So basically, you have an organ inside you that produces a hormone called insulin. And what insulin does is to make sure that that glucose, that food that you've taken in that is processed into glucose, which will serve as energy for your cells, it makes that glucose to enter into the cell.
Okay.
So it's like the gate that opens glucose to enter into the cell. So if you don't have enough insulin, not enough glucose will get into the cell. If you don't have insulin, then no glucose will enter into the cell. So basically, it's the analogy of starvation amidst plenty. So there's a lot of glucose in your blood, but it's not being utilized. So the difference that comes between type 1 and type 2 then is in type 1, you don't produce the insulin.
Okay.
Type 2 can be two ways. Either you're producing insulin, but the body is resistant to its effect because of weight and all that.
Okay.
Or you're also not producing enough insulin from your pancreas. So majorly what we always say is that type 2 is a disease of the adults, type 1 is a disease of the children, but now that has become in blood over time. So we tend to see adults getting type 1, we tend to see children getting type 2 because lifestyle has changed. Yeah.
Okay. At least I have a clue.
Yeah, that's good enough.
So, asante sana. So, Yvonne, what is the role of Diabetes and Orthocare Limited? And let's put it into perspective. When I was growing up, I had a friend of my sister who was born with diabetes. And I remember she would have, I think, daily injections. I'm not sure, but I just feared it because I would hear about injections. When we had birthdays, we had to be careful about giving her cakes and sweets. So nilikuwa namhurumia sana, yani jamani keki huwezi kula. But of course, with time, I saw her struggling and I wondered what can be done better. But of course now we have technology here. And I believe that's the role of now Diabetes and Orthocare Limited. Please tell us, how has that brought the difference in treating diabetes?
Okay. Yeah, so for us at Diabetes and Orthocare Limited, it's DOP, my co-founder Grace and I started this company because we have lots of experience working in diabetes. Before this, we worked for pharma, and we used to make sure that patients and the doctors have access to insulin. So when we stepped out and started our own thing, we thought, how else can we support the people living with diabetes? Because we understand a lot of the struggles that they have. And that's how come we spoke with the doctors and asked them, what else do you need, which is not available? And in many parts of Africa, this is still, we're behind.
Yes.
Because this tech is not new. It's like maybe more than 10 years old, but we're not yet having it here.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's how come we started this company. So ideally what we do right now really helps in terms of the monitoring. So you know when someone has to check their sugar, they must prick.
Yes.
And then push out some blood and put it and check. So that can be quite challenging because you need to do it. I don't know, Daktari, what you advise, more than once a day at least.
Yeah.
And so that's the technology that we have. A smarter way to do it is called a continuous glucose monitor.
Okay.
So as we talk, maybe we'll get
we'll get to that. But not even Linda tueleze, when you were diagnosed, how did that make you feel? Emotionally, mentally, how did you go about it?
So at first, I had probably not processed. So it was relief that I still get to live. I just need to manage it. But then now, maybe a few months later, that's when reality started setting in. Oh my God, what do you mean? I'll be injecting myself maybe 3 times a day, 4 times a day sometimes. And I need to keep monitoring my sugars, you know. So for someone who grew up very scared of injections, I remember even going for these medical camps. Even children would be telling me, si uchungu, when the doctor just wants to treat. I would create a whole scene. I would be there even 1 hour. So for someone who's that scared of injections, being
and now
told
you have to inject daily.
Yes. So I was admitted, and day 4, you're told, here's your insulin, go home, be injecting yourself. I haven't injected before. So the first week, I had to go to a local hospital to get my injections done. And then, yeah, a family friend who also had diabetes was like, you can't keep living like this. What if an emergency happens and you need to inject yourself? So from that day, I decided, okay, I'll do it, no matter how difficult it is. So it has been difficult because for any other person, when you get a snack right now, you don't need to worry about anything. You just eat it. But for me, I'll probably have to ask myself maybe 15 questions. What are my sugars right now? What will be the impact of this snack once I take it? Will I be able to take the next meal? You can have high sugars but still be hungry. So yeah, and it can become very complicated. And also knowing the amount of insulin you need to inject was a challenge.
Okay.
Yeah, hypoglycemia is when the sugars are low, below 4. So hypoglycemia was a whole new experience for me. I didn't understand what was happening to me until I visited DMI, which is Diabetes Management Information Center, something like that. So that's where I was explained, and even my friends got to learn about what hypoglycemia is, and then it became easier to manage. I went through a low period where now I think the depression started kicking in, and at some point I even got memory loss. But that's the time now I reached out to Yvonne and Grace, and that's how I got a continuous glucose monitor. And since then, even my friends say, you've relaxed. Yeah, because
now you
the
can
constant
be able to
worry.
manage it better. And thank you so much for agreeing to come and share your story. You know, I know we have a lot of people watching this who don't know how to manage their diabetes. Thank you so much. It's called turning pain into purpose.
Yeah.
And I think you will change the whole diabetes trajectory, maybe in the country, maybe in the world.
Yes.
But thank you for sharing your story. You've mentioned blurry vision, and then also hypoglycemia, and we also have hyper. Daktari, please tell us, what are the symptoms of diabetes? How do you know I could be having diabetes?
So I'll try and simplify it in a different way. So if you join the first conversation we had, whereby you have too much glucose in your system that is not being used. So if you did some biology, you'd remember that osmotic experiment where you put a potato, then you put water, then sugar, then water moves to where there is
from
sugar.
High concentration
from high
to
concentration to low concentration. So basically this is what's happening. So the body has too much sugar and it doesn't know because it's toxic now. And it has to be eliminated. So as sugar comes out of your body through urine, it goes away with water. So what that happens is you get dehydrated. And because the sugar is not getting into the cell, then there's no food for the cell. So the body starts eating itself up to provide you with energy. So you lose weight. So you are urinating a lot, you're losing weight, you're feeling hungry because the body is detecting that you don't have food. So if you remember, then you'll have these cravings of, you want sweet things and all that. So it's a chain reaction. So you're just adding more sugar to your body, you're losing weight, you're urinating a lot, you're feeling thirsty because you're losing the water. So you are all the time just trying to look for something to drink. And then because of that, you're feeling tired because there's no energy, okay? And because of the toxicity of the glucose in the small vessels in the eye, you start getting blurry vision. And for men out there, they actually lose libido, they lose their erection. So it's a whole new encompassing many symptoms altogether. That's why I keep saying it's a complex condition.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll talk about genetics, and the one that you've said type 1 and type 2. One is genetic, one is acquired in adulthood. We'll talk about that. But Yvonne, I know, before we come to tech, what kind of awareness are you spreading with OrthoCare Limited in terms of looking out for symptoms? How do you know that you have diabetes, and what are you doing about it with your organization?
Okay, so we really partner a lot. We partner with the healthcare providers a lot. We partner with organizations such as DMI. They do fantastic work in terms of children living with diabetes. They have their annual walk. They provide free insulin to everybody under 25. So if you visit their centers, it's a fantastic setup. So we work with healthcare workers, we work with organizations, and we are happy to partner with anybody else looking to do this kind of work. It's really what makes us happy. And of course, having the opportunity to come here and just talk about diabetes is really one of the highlights
towards spreading awareness. Yes. Okay, thank you, Yvonne. Linda, how are you managing it? How were you told by the doctor, which I remember you told me you were told it's type 1 by another doctor and type 2 by another doctor, but what do you think about the diabetes that you have?
So, as Daktari said, one is in adulthood and the other one is in childhood. That's what laymen would say.
Yes.
So, by the time I was getting diagnosed, I was 27. So,
That's
depending,
2 years ago. Yeah?
depending on where you are, you can classify it as child or adult. But what I have seen, what has been a struggle for me is getting consistent information. At some point, I literally shut down. I was like, I don't want to hear anything anymore because dealing with the conflicting information was too much. So when I was in hospital, when I was diagnosed the first time, I was told it's type 1. There's family members, there's family friends saying, no, you can't be type 1 at this age, that's type 2. There are certain doctors that will say it's also type 2. So it became this whole confusion, but there's also a test you can do to check if your body is producing antibodies against the pancreas, something like that.
And Daktari, you'll tell us about that.
Yeah. So that confirmed I have type 1. And certain doctors still say it's LADA, so Daktari will clarify.
Okay, Daktari, back to you.
Hey.
Type 1 and type 2, where do you draw the line?
Well, separating it clinically, meaning just through history, is not enough because of that blurry gray area, because we can no longer use age alone to separate the two types of diabetes. And as she has mentioned, there are other forms of diabetes. There's what we call type 1.5, which is latent autoimmune diabetes of the adult. Basically, it's type 1 that comes late in life. So just take it like that.
Yes.
There's another one called maturity onset diabetes of the young, which is just a genetic defect at the level of the pancreas, rare than all these other types. But the good question is, yes, then how do you separate the two? Clinically, it may not be enough. I know we were using things like, do you have risk factors for type 2 diabetes? So do you have family history? Have you been having a poor lifestyle? Have you been taking a lot of alcohol, smoking, things like that? We were using those things to define probably where you are. But now we have the ability to use tests to now define. And basically the principle behind that is very simple. We can measure how much insulin your body is producing indirectly with a test, whereby we can take blood, take the measurement, it's called C-peptide, and we can know if you're producing this amount of C-peptide, then it means likelihood that this is the type of diabetes. And number 2, she's talked of something called antibodies. Basically, these are, let me say, chemicals which are produced to attack the pancreas, if I can put it in that language. And if we find they are positive, then we know we are dealing with something called autoimmune diabetes. Basically, your body is fighting the pancreas. So then we know that probably then you have either type 1 or the type 1.5 that we are talking about. So now we have ways of actually differentiating between the types.
The types, yeah. And Yvonne, do you have, is there, it's a development, right? So Yvonne, do you have it in AutoCare Limited, how the products or the tests that you can use to determine if you have type 1 or type 2 diabetes?
No,
you don't.
No, but now for us, what we have is now when you're monitoring whether you're type 1 or type 2, it helps you avoid the kind of situations. She told you she has to answer 15 questions before she eats something. Yeah. So that would mean then, okay, I want to have this snack. So she'll prick and see her sugar is at this level. Then she'll either proceed to eat it or give herself the insulin. And after, she still needs to check again, prick, and confirm that, and if she feels anything different, anything weird, she'll keep checking. So this information, which will come to the app on her phone, is now solving that kind of issue. But I think what he's speaking about, their lab tests.
The lab tests,
not the monitoring. Okay. So Linda, how has that technology helped you? You said that since then you relaxed.
Yeah.
But please tell us, when before the patches, how was your day from the time you wake up to the time you sleep? I know you've mentioned that you have to think 5 times, ask yourself 15 questions.
Yeah.
But from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, how is it? Do you go to work? How are you? Is your day like other people, or do you have to have more precautionary measures as you live with diabetes, apart from the food that you eat?
Yeah, you have more precautionary measures, and let me say you're paranoid. You're paranoid about everything.
Okay.
So luckily I was working from home, so you wake up now because you're paranoid about going hypoglycemia or sugars going low, because that's very, very scary and life-threatening. Literally your life flashes in front of your eyes. So you'd rather have a hyperglycemia rather than hypoglycemia. So the most important thing is to try and avoid that hypoglycemia. So when you wake up, you are of course paranoid whether the sugars are below the normal range. So you have to eat something. Before eating, you need to prick and check your sugar levels. And then maybe if it's mostly in the morning, it's around 4 to 6 the readings that you'll find for glucose. So that's fine, and you can have your breakfast. But 2 hours after that, you need to check if it's also gone too high, and inject. Actually, you're supposed to inject the fast-acting insulin. Yeah, either 30 minutes before eating, or 30 minutes after eating. And 30 minutes before eating means 30 minutes. Please don't take 45 minutes, because you'll go hypo again, and you'll be shaking, you'll be trembling. It will be even difficult to hold a cup. So I remember, in fact, the first days I would end up pouring my tea because maybe I'm too weak to hold a cup. But after that, then, so it would be around 11. After that, you're now preparing for lunch. You need to check
again.
And remember, by then I was not able to inject my insulin, so I had to go to a nearby hospital. They inject the fast-acting insulin, and then I come back home, do some work till lunchtime. Before lunchtime, I prick to see what my sugar levels are. Eat, then maybe go to the hospital for another short-acting insulin, come back, continue with some work. If it's too high, you need to maybe do some exercise. But I'd say the first 1 year, it was difficult for me to work out, because you feel fatigued, and at the same time, you're scared of going hypo.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the cycle. Around 4, maybe again snack. Then 6 p.m., check your sugars again, go for the injection if you need, eat, go for the injection if you need, and come back. Then
strong.
At night,
you are one strong woman.
at night you have to inject now the long acting to take you 24 to 48 hours.
Wow.
The long acting insulin. So that's at least 3 to 4 pricks, and then 3 to 4 injections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Daktari.
I actually wanted to paint this picture because many people really don't get this picture.
Yes. Right. And Linda has put it so well.
For a patient with type 1 diabetes, you can imagine the number of times they need to prick themselves in a single day.
Yes.
They need to inject themselves the insulin before the breakfast, the insulin before the lunch, the insulin before the dinner. So those are 3 injections. And there's another insulin that has to take them through the night. Those are 4 injections. They have to test 6 times, basically, before and after each meal. Okay? And sometimes in between, maybe because you're suspecting your sugar is either too high
or too low.
So you can imagine the life is just surrounding injecting yourself and trying to find a balance of where your sugar is within normal range for you to have optimal life going on with your activities in the day-to-day. So it's a tricky thing for them. And I think the reason why this technology now is helpful is because, one, it removes away the issue of you pricking yourself.
Yes.
The technology it's a continuous glucose monitor. You put it on your arm or your abdomen, and it's basically what it does is it takes your reading every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes. So you don't have to prick yourself every
Nothing.
time. Technology,
Yes, and it's connected to your phone.
Yeah.
And your phone can beep you when the sugar is going too high
or
when it's going too low. So it removes that, anxiety that surrounds your glucose control. Number 2, you can go ahead and pair that device with an insulin pump.
Wow.
And this insulin pump can connect automatically with your continuous glucose monitor and now manage the insulin on your behalf without you injecting yourself. So there's a lot of advancements when it comes to managing
diabetes.
Type 1 diabetes.
Type 1 diabetes.
Yes.
Thank you, Daktari. Now, Yvonne, let's talk about the access. the cost.
Yeah.
But my director is telling me that we have to take a break first. So let's take a break and then we'll come talk about the cost of accessing that technology. Don't go away, we'll be right back. Welcome back. If you've just tuned in, this is the Health and Wellness Show, and my name is Chebet Birir. Today we are talking about type 1 diabetes and how technology has helped manage it. And on set, we have an endocrinologist, Dr. Davis Ombui. We also have Yvonne Kiare, who is the founder of Diabetes and Orthocare Limited, a company that helps people with orthopedic and diabetic issues to better manage their conditions. And last but not least, we have Linda Kavulani, who is an expert with lived experience, not a patient with diabetes. And she's shedding a lot of light on what it takes to live with diabetes. Before we went to the break, we were talking about the cost. We were about to talk about the costs of accessing this technology called, it's a patch, continuous glucose monitor. And Yvonne, you were explaining to us how accessibility is an issue. So please go ahead and tell us how cheap or expensive is it to access the monitor?
Okay. So the continuous glucose monitors are not really what we would call very cost friendly. We have them going from 13,500 upwards, and this is something that is replaced every 2 weeks. So you can imagine, like for Linda, that's an additional cost to her monthly budget. Yeah. However, we are really working to make sure, access means a lot of things, not only cost. So we are working to really make sure that healthcare providers are aware about this. People living with diabetes are aware about this kind of technology. Payers are aware about this kind of technologies, and other policy stakeholders, such as the government and insurance, because really it's a life-changing
and changing
device. Okay. So I think for us at the moment, as Diabetes and Orthocare, really getting that kind of information out there, having people partner with us who would like to have equity in terms of this kind of solutions is really what we are geared to. However, so we are able to support people get the devices from.
Of course, you'll talk to us about whether you're partnering with the government and other stakeholders, which you've talked about before, but I want to know if Shah will be able to cover that. But I understand you have the device there.
We have.
Please show us how it works.
A demo. So I'll just go ahead and I'd wash my hands, so I'll just use sanitizer. Linda has been great enough to let us do the change for her here. Yeah, so this is part of the service that we offer. We are able to just walk everybody through how to use it. Sorry, with my bag. So this is, I'll just clean the site.
Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
And please move forward a bit.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So it doesn't hurt, and you can swim, you can shower, you can do all your normal daily activities when you have it. So I'll put it on her, and then she will activate the app. So I'll just go ahead and push it in.
Is it painful?
That's it.
I'm feeling pain. Oh, it's not.
So there. So for the next 2 weeks, Linda doesn't have to prick. She will just be checking on her phone and know what her sugar is. If her sugar goes high or low, she'll get an alarm.
But what did you just do?
So you just punch it in. You just punch it in. That's it.
Like a shot.
Yeah. No, but you just punch it in.
What is it that you punch in?
It's called a sensor. So that's the continuous glucose monitor. So this will pair by Bluetooth to her phone.
Linda, please show. Show the
and
camera.
she'll be able to get her readings.
Yeah.
And then for parents, I think when we're talking about the continuous, the pricking, there's the added job. You have to keep a ledger.
Yeah.
7 a.m. Because when you go to see doctor, he'll be like, where are my readings? He needs to make, so the app keeps all the information.
So you have to have a smartphone.
Yes, you must have a smartphone, at least a Bluetooth-enabled smartphone.
Okay.
Then it'll keep the records. it will do some analysis, so it will make his life easier as well.
Okay.
It will also help her know how she can manage her diet and her exercise and all her decisions.
Linda, do you have your phone with you?
No.
Because I wanted you to show us the app.
Yeah. No,
She will get the phone in a few.
Yeah.
But yes, so how exactly does it work with the phone and the patch?
So it will transmit her readings. It will pick the reading and transmit the result. So you know the one for here, you prick, you put it into the machine.
Okay.
So that's the step. So this does the analysis and sends the reading.
Okay.
So, and for parents who have children living with type 1 diabetes or even elderly people, they can also link their phones to the person who has the sensor, and they can receive the information. So you can imagine if you have your child in class, or if you're worried about your mom or anybody, you can also receive the reading. So that's really
Life-saving.
life-saving, yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much to the technology people for coming up with that. Daktari, sasa let's talk about now the app and the patch.
Yeah.
How do you interpret those readings, and how are you able to tailor the treatment or whatever you need to do as an endocrinologist
Good.
to treat your patient?
So what you see there transmits all that information to the phone. And that phone will have analysis of the trend. So it draws it like a graph.
Okay.
And it summarizes into figures that I can use to interpret her condition. So for example, it will tell me if she's eating well, if she's taking too much carbohydrate.
So she can't lie.
She can't lie. It will tell me.
You know many patients lie.
Yeah. It will tell
Especially
me
that,
if she's using enough insulin, if she's using insulin, if she's engaging in activities where maybe she needed food and she didn't. You know, it will tell me a lot of information, and it will summarize it in one page.
Okay.
So all I need to do is just look at that page, and I can be able to look at her and tell her, unapenda mandazi sana.
Linda, what is happening? Linda anapenda mandazi for real. Okay, so Linda has,
Yeah, so basically I can be able to get a lot more information with the app as opposed to pricks, because the prick is point reading. It's only 6 times in a day, but this one is taking every 5 minutes. So I'll be able to have a lot more information to help me manage her better.
Condition. That's amazing. Really amazing. So Linda has her phone now. Please show us the app. I don't know if Njoki can be able to zoom in, or you can just show it to the to the screen, to the camera rather.
Yeah.
So that's the app, huh?
Yeah, because I've just now loaded it. It will take a while to pair.
Okay.
And then now once the numbers start reflecting, the graph will be drawn here.
So what's your status now?
No, it's still loading.
No, it's still loading.
So as it loads, stay right there. Yvonne, please tell us, what are the challenges? Now, this thing is very effective, it's life-saving, but what needs to be done to ensure that every person living with diabetes type 1 gets access to this device?
Okay, so maybe we can just borrow from what people in other countries have been doing.
Okay.
For example, I think Dr. Ombu trained in the UK. There, the government actually is able to subsidize or even pay for certain groups.
Wow.
So I think for children living with type 1 diabetes, they pay for it.
They pay for it, okay.
And for expectant mothers, they pay for it. And probably for people using multiple doses of insulin, they also do pay for it.
Okay.
So it would be amazing if, you know, your insurance company could take care of it. And I think in the end, I don't know, Dr. maybe can tell us, because at least he's worked in both scenarios and he's able to see, you know,
Okay, Dr. tell us, what needs to be done?
Well, policy change.
Policy change.
It's nothing short of a policy change. There's a lot of that discussion around societies like the Kenya Diabetes Study Group, which is an association of endocrinologists and diabetologists, and also patients support groups. As you can see, this is something that is really, really helpful. It
Very
changes
helpful,
life.
yes.
Okay. So at the discussion level of SHA, I think that is something that they can actually engage the stakeholders to accept as something that they can offer to
You
actually.
said it's how much?
It's around 13,000.
1,000
Yeah.
every 2 weeks.
That's very little
But
money for
per
the
month,
government.
that's 26,000. Very little money
Very
for the
little money
government.
The government can't
Yeah,
do that.
considering that billions of shillings are getting lost.
Yeah.
These billions can be used to do
Yeah.
such, of course,
Yeah.
helping people.
I think for the government, they should interpret it like if she survives well and eats well, she pays more taxes. So, so you're just increasing your taxpayer
Productivity.
base. Yeah.
Economy.
So,
you're boosting the economy.
you're boosting the economy.
Yeah.
So that's how they should look at it.
Yes,
long-term.
absolutely.
Yep.
So Linda, has it loaded?
It will take.
It will
It will
take.
take
How
at
long does
least
it take?
1 hour.
Wow.
It takes 1 hour. When
Okay.
it's new, it takes 1 hour to power up.
Okay.
After that, now it is continuous.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I guess we will do this another time. But Linda, so Daktari, not Linda. What are the normal ranges? Of course, Linda, you would also know the normal sugar ranges. But Daktari, how will I know I'm on the red, and how will I know
Yes.
I'm on the green?
So the good thing about this app, it has been designed like traffic lights. Red, green, yellow. When it's green, you know it's good. When it's yellow,
Orange.
when it's red, it's bad.
Orange.
Or
Yeah, when it's orange.
I'm a man, colorblind. Yes. Forgive me for that. But,
Forgiven. I understand. Yeah.
but the issue is, in normal people who are not using CGM, there's a range of sugar that we expect to see when you are in the fasted state. So meaning in between meals and at night. Okay? And then there are ranges that we expect after a meal. So basically it's between 4 and 7 in the morning is fair enough. It's good enough. Below 10, 2 hours after meal is good. But remember, these ranges differ with situations. In pregnancy, it's different. In the elderly, it's different. In people with multiple comorbidities. So your doctor should be able to tell you what range that the doctor is safe to tell you that your sugar range is within normal.
The normal ranges. Okay. Yvonne, what do you think can be done more? Like, apart from the device, what can be done to improve the state of diabetes in Kenya and also in Africa? Because I understand your company deals with that. So what more needs to be done?
Yeah, so we really work a lot to do capacity building. That means trainings. We do a lot of trainings on patients. We train caregivers. We work with healthcare providers who want to know more about this kind of technology. We support them with their patients, because you can imagine if Dr. Ombui has to explain to everybody how to use an app, or they call, something is going wrong. So we do support them with that.
Yes.
And we would love to do it on a bigger scale. Yeah. And I think also having stories like Linda,
yes.
you know, people just coming and saying how this has impacted them. You know, somebody might look and see it's a business. The aim of a business is profit or whatever. So having more and more stories about how this is changing life for somebody, making their life better, I think that really crowns it all for us.
Maybe the president is watching and he would he would tell the SHA people to include this. You never know. Okay.
So just hearing stories of how this technology can make someone's life better is part of what we're trying to do, just to get people to talk about it. And so we're really happy that Linda has decided to share.
To share her story. And thank you so much, Linda. Keep going. Keep going. So let's now talk about myths and misconceptions. Just starting with Linda, because she's the one who's been there. So when you first got diagnosed, what are the things that you had that maybe you didn't know that whether they are true or not, but now you know? What are some of those issues?
So I think the first question you get ni yako ni ya kuanguka ama ni ya kupanda.
Absolutely.
So anyone with diabetes, the sugars will go both high and low. So it needs to be balanced. Of course, we live in Africa, so anyone could assume also it's witchcraft, and it's so hard to explain to them that whether it is witchcraft or not, my blood sugar is high and it needs to be controlled. Yeah.
Okay.
Other things, you can't take sugar at all, but sugar can actually save your life at some point.
Okay.
When the blood sugar levels have gone too low, sugar can actually save your life. What else? You meet certain people who are just maybe paranoid. They see, so utakufa too anytime.
They think you'll die tomorrow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, those are some of the things that I faced. But about diet, there's so many diet police. We call them diet police.
Diet police. Usikule
Yeah,
sukari.
don't take dessert, don't take this. And it is belittling for the person with diabetes. It's like you're looking down upon them. Of course, this person has may
mean well, but they don't know how to.
Yeah, it's coming
mean
from
well.
a concerned point of view. You mean well, but I think the tone just rubs people off. And of course, for someone to be taking dessert, that person also has his or her own mind. They've made certain calculations. And trust me, even for them to reach out for that dessert, even them, they're scared. No one just wakes up and decides, I want to die. We are doing everything we can to survive. So they can take sugar, we can take sugar. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm also learning from you, because hata mimi nilikuwa najua ni either ya kushuka ama ya kupanda. And that's why I told you my childhood friend, okay, my sister's friend, we would avoid giving her cake. Mzazi asiseme tulipea mtoto keki,
Yes.
ikuwe ni sisi tumefanya sugar ikapanda. But of course, it's about balance, not high and low. Daktari, tell us, what are the myths and misconceptions that patients come to you with?
Okay, I think I need to address them. Look
Yes,
at me.
personally.
Because this one is
face.
serious. When I'm prescribing to you insulin, it does not mean you are nearing the end of your disease or you're nearing death. It's not true, because that misconception has been spread so wide that the moment you want to prescribe insulin to a patient, and remember, even a patient with type 2 diabetes can get insulin. So it is not true. Insulin is actually the best drug for the management of diabetes, because that is actually the problem, okay? Misconception number 2 is that you will be on lifelong treatment, and that is, there's a caveat for that. For patients with type 2, under certain conditions and circumstances, you can get into what is called diabetes remission. If you change your lifestyle and all those things, so you can imagine you are big, and we reduce your body size, your insulin resistance improves. You can have enough insulin from your pancreas to serve you, and in a situation whereby you are not healed, I don't want to use that term, you are just in remission phase where you may not need the treatment, but the drug now that you're now supporting you and it's taking care of you is your lifestyle. And if you go against your lifestyle, you can go back to the disease. So we can't cure diabetes, but we can put you in remission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well noted, Daktari.
Yeah.
Yvonne, what are some of the myths and misconceptions that you've heard about diabetes?
Well, I think for me, it's maybe what I've heard people say about medication, that you become addicted. I think that's a big thing out there.
Why
Once
so?
you start your medication for hypertension or for diabetes, you never stop.
Yeah.
So you should not even start. I think.
So mtu akae tu bila dawa.
Yeah, so many people don't take. Like I know people who just keep it because they feel
they don't
like
want
they'll
to be
be addicted.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that's not true. Yeah.
There's one big question, Daktari, and also, of course, Yvonne and Linda, you can weigh in on this. Ozempic is a diabetic drug. And when I mention Ozempic, it is viral. So najua watu wanajua Ozempic ni nini. So ideally, what is Ozempic? And then I'll tell you why I'm asking this question.
I'll tell you what Ozempic is. Ozempic is a drug which a patient knocks on my door and tells me I want Ozempic.
You see?
It's become so famous that let's just break it down. Ozempic was designed initially as a drug to control glucose and weight. But now when we used it in patients with type 2 diabetes, we also discovered that it has other benefits, which the prominent one is also it reduces your weight. And it reduces your weight by suppressing your appetite and slowing down your digestion. Okay. So the manufacturers were like, if we can get these effects, can we try it on people who are having challenges with their weight? And when they tried it on people who have weight issues, it actually reduced their weight. So the truth is, yes, it's a medicine to manage type 2 diabetes, true. But it has also been licensed to manage patients who are struggling with weight. But there are indications. The issue now on the public arena is the abuse.
The abuse.
The abuse is the problem. I remember seeing...
so it has no major effects?
It has, like all drugs.
So I can use it to lose weight?
Utakuja unione kwa clinic. But there are indications. There are things I need to check first to find out, why are you adding weight? Is there something, is there a condition behind your weight increase? You get it?
Yes.
Is it lifestyle? Is it a condition? For me to figure out that. So there are tests that I may need to do. There are questions I may need to ask you to know if you will be at risk of using this drug. Do you have a history of thyroid cancer? You know, for example, have you had pancreatitis, which is inflammation of the pancreas? Have you had gallstones? So those are the things we look to make sure first we have to rule those things out before we give it to you.
Yeah. And what are the effects of abusing it? Does it affect your internal organs?
We don't have long-term studies for that, what we call post-marketing data. These are things we'll see later on. But what we know is, if you use it, there are, of course, there are side effects, and most of them are gastrointestinal. So maybe nausea, bloating, constipation, lethargy, loss of muscle, you know. So these are the things you need to be taught. And you need to also be told that if you stop using this medication, your weight goes back up.
Okay, so if you are to sustain your weight, you have to be on it.
You have to be on it, plus lifestyle.
Plus lifestyle.
Yes.
Exercise.
Exercise
diet.
and diet. So it's not a silver bullet to solve your problems once and for all. But that is, I think, the problem is if you walk into spas and beauty places and, you know, all this information is not told to you, that is where the problem is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yvonne, I don't know, but you can say something about that Ozempic, but I'm told we have very few minutes to go. A minute. Okay, let's do parting shots. Linda, please tell us your last word.
I would say I'm grateful to be here. It's a good opportunity to talk about diabetes, and also grateful for the CGMs. Thank you for making it accessible to us, because it's a game changer and a lifesaver.
Thank you. Yvonne?
I would just like to encourage anybody there, for all the people living with diabetes, their loved ones who are living with diabetes, that technology is coming in fast, and there are very many things which are going to make life much easier.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
I'll just say diabetes is a complex condition, yes, but it's manageable. People don't need to fear it. People need to embrace it. And there are doctors and healthcare professionals out there who are actually ready to help you to manage this condition without fear.
All right. You've heard it from the experts. All of them are experts, one with lived experience. Diabetes is manageable. You can live a full life with it. Of course, with technological advancements, it makes life better. But if you have diabetes, and of course, it will take time for you to access this, remember that there are many ways that you can, you know, embrace to be able to manage your condition better. Of course, my call to policymakers and changers in the government is to include this very life-changing device into insurance, that is SHA. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Chebet Birir. See you again next week. Mungu akipenda.